The world produces around 400 million tons of plastic every year, and only around 9% of that gets recycled. In 2060, predictions are that the amount of plastic will triple. On that backdrop, the countries of the world came together in 2022 and decided that we should have a legally binding agreement to control and regulate the area of plastics. But since then, negotiations have been going on, and just a couple of weeks ago, it collapsed once again, fell to the floor, and there is no agreement at all. So something new needs to come in. One of the key conflict areas here is whether or not to include a cap on the amount of plastic that the world is going to be allowed to produce. As I said, there's literally been very little movement on the last round of negotiation, so we need something new. And I have an idea that potentially could create some common ground and thereby some real traction. My name is Jasper Steinhausen, and this is Outside Perspective, where I give you perspectives on issues in the intersection between sustainability and business. So, situation is that a majority of the countries have formed a coalition, and for them it's imperative that there is a cap on the amount of plastic that can be produced. And on the other side, we have a group of countries that are predominantly countries with large oil production and or plastic manufacturing, and they refuse to accept that. Everybody agrees on the basic idea that we should have better recycling, better systems for collecting it, all of that. So that's really not a big issue. The biggest issue, then not to figure out how to solve, is really around whether or not to cap it. So one of the arguments that I hear being brought forward by those resisting a cap is that it's not a thought through suggestion, because plastic is also used in things that we want more of. You know, it could be like green tech solutions or healthcare, food, and I actually think that they got a really good point here. So here is my idea, my suggestion to how we could potentially move forward. We split the entire use of plastic in two. So we have the essentials and the rest. So it's about defining a set of categories that we deem as essential to the world. And I know, of course, negotiations here about defining that is going to be super tough, but that's okay. It's a better level problem to negotiate around than where they are right now. So in here goes obviously stuff like renewable energy, healthcare, treatments, different categories of stuff that we say, this is what we really want to use plastic for. And there will be no cap for these categories. So that's the situation for part of it. The rest joins in one pool, and in there we put a cap. And that means I think we will see the market forces come into play then, because as we start to get near the limit, we will see constraints and cost rise and priorities come up, and therefore the products that are more valuable and actually something that we want in our everyday life, even though they're not essentials, they will win over the cheap and crappy stuff that we produce too much of, that nobody really needs and is used for a very short period of time. So I think that will be able to meet a common ground, because if you are a manufacturer or an oil producing company, well, then you still have the room for growing, you still have a room for expanding your business and deliver what you're used to, but it becomes harder to say that we cannot at all then make changes also to parts of the plastic use that everybody knows is less needed. So that's my idea, and of course all of this should be supplemented by the parts that people do agree on, more recycling and all of that, but that's the easy part, I think. So So I think that's my suggestion. Let me know in the comments if you could see this work. There are most likely tons of flaws to it, but this is an idea and I would love to hear what you think about it. So put it in the comments, and of course like and subscribe, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.